my loves. I am really stoked to talk about karma because it's the guardrails of our life, and I think it's misunderstood. This is part 3 of 3 parts of my What in the Woo series for my weekly newsletter, which you can now read on Substack, or you can subscribe at daniellelaporte.com. And I feel I have saved the most meaningful as the icing on this gluten-free cake. It's a massive topic. And what I hope is that the twist on this, which I hope is aligned with universal truth, is going to come as a relief or a surprise. You get to choose because free will, because karma. Karmic retribution, I would put retribution in italics, is really misunderstood in the personal development space. It took me a really long time to get my mind and heart straight on this. Part of it is because I grew up Catholic. My family wasn't particularly devoted, but I was. I had a Virgin Mary Barbie house. I converted my Barbie doll PlayStation into a Catholic homage to Mary. So I was all in. And if you're all in for Catholicism and you have a little young, malleable mind, you are going to absorb some punitive paradigms, some paradigms of punitiveness. And then, you bust out of that in your 20s with some Louise Hay and some cause and effect, which really goes back to the Kabbalion, which I'm going to give you a quote from. And then you become an armchair Buddhist, and you're just replacing one punitive system for the illusion of another punitive system. But I figured this out. I think I figured this out. Karma. Okay, this is it. Let's inhale. Let's take in this deep relief. Still a bit terrifying, but hopefully some relief in this. Karma is not a punishment system. Isn't that good news? Do your shoulders kind of drop? Mine do. It's not a form of some deity disciplining you. It is most definitely not another person or another kind of energy outside of ourselves giving us a taste of our own medicine. The soul is governing everything. Nobody is controlling your destiny or your karma. The soul is the dispenser of your lessons, lifetime to lifetime. And I think there's mercy in this. You can do something really, really nasty in one lifetime that incurs so much density for you. And I think what the soul does is it helps us work through that density a little bit at a time. Because love, because mercy, because balance needs to be restored without creating more trauma. Even though sometimes the karma, like our challenges in a lifetime, can feel traumatizing. If we lean into these paradigms of karma being about restoring balance, if we approach the weight of this with more lightness, then it's less traumatizing when the challenges come. We see the meaning in the challenge. It's actually lighter. It's more high vibration because of our perspective. But let me simplify this. Karma is us taking radical responsibility for our unresolved issues. Radical responsibility is way sexy, cosmically speaking. Karma is the strength we build when we clean up our own messes. So simple, so beautiful. Don't you want to clean up your own mess? Isn't that like the coolest thing ever? Karma is what happens when we set out to make a positive difference in the lives of others. Positive karma, negative karma. And by the way, the positive karma includes the love and the kindness and the support we give to the plant and animal kingdoms, because all connected. Karma is how we realize our power by restoring balance. We set out to restore balance, clean up our messes, and we realize our true nature. So good. Karma is actually a very direct path to love, to enlightenment. So let me give you the 5 points of karma. I've got this beautiful teaching from Pema Chodron. She says, people get into a heavy-duty sin and guilt trip. Anybody? They feel that if things are going wrong, it means they did something bad and they're being punished. But that's not the idea at all. The idea of karma is that you continually get the teachings you need in order to open your heart. Yeah, girlfriend. Karma is how we realize our power by restoring balance. Karma is a direct path to love. So here's the first principle. The ego generates the negative karma. Where's negative karma come from? The ego, the shadow self. The heart generates the positive karma naturally. So what's the ego? Simplest way to put it is the ego is an exaggerated sense of a separate self. So it's that place within ourselves that's just always thinking me, myself, and more me. Separateness, right? Self-ish. The ego is creating from division, from restriction, from illusion. The ego is not creating from love. The ego is not love. It's okay. Everybody's got one. We are in this one-room schoolhouse, as my dear friend Guru Singh always puts it, and there's duality. But ego is not making things from a happy place. It's making things from a very dissatisfied place, and it wants to perpetuate dissatisfaction. So you can see where this is going. When the ego puts out a thought or a word, says something, creates speech or an action, it creates this sort of energy knot. That's how you could look at it. You could think of a thought, a word, or an action from the ego as a disturbance in the force. The ego disturbs the force. It creates these bindings. It's not flow, right? It's not natural divine order. So the ego generates karma because the ego is perpetuating the illusion of separation. More divisiveness equals more negative karma. You pick a fight, you say you're inferior or superior, they, them versus me, us, negative karma. However, when the heart puts out a thought, a word, or an action, because it all counts, everything you're thinking and everything you're saying and the tone and your actual behavior, when that comes from the heart, from the true self, from love, it creates more positive energy. It moves positive energy. It stimulates flow, you could say. The heart generates more harmony with its thoughts, its words, its actions. The heart will always create more beauty. The heart will always dish out more flow of truth. And that's what you call positive karma. Generosity, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom, positive karma. It's in sync with the divinity of the universe, with unity consciousness. And because energy attracts like energy, like attracts like, then whomever is generating all those good deeds, beauty, flow of truth, loving kindness, compassion, that generator, that person is going to magnetize more of the same into their lives, any given lifetime. More benevolence, more goodwill. Energy attracts like energy. So let's go back to negative karma for a second. Negative karma is the result of the thought, the word, the actions that are selfish. That's it. It's that simple. And everybody's got it, and everybody's doing it. Why is selfishness harmful? I mean, it should be like a duh answer to that, right? But let's break it down. I really want us to get liberated with this. Since we are all actually one, oneness, all from the same source, is the true reality, then anything that is not a reflection of that, not in harmony of that, throws off spiritual balance. It puts itself outside of universal law. Selfishness throws off spiritual balance. And then what's that look like in one's life? What's the result of the accumulation of negative karma? Well, it's everything that most of us don't want. Financial problems, health issues, heartbreak, lack of loving relationships, etc., etc. Everybody is dealing with negative karma, gurus and rappers. We are all burning karma. We incarnate in order to heal, to come into balance. That's the burn. It's the burning. It's the beauty. That's where the power is to be found. That's really the thesis here. Let's switch gears. Take a deep breath. Talk about positive karma. The accumulation of positive karma is going to show up as what? All the things we want. Prosperity, a rich life. However, each of us defines prosperity. So wealth, prosperity, abundance. For me, it could be living in a small cabin. For you, it could be great apple crops and chickens and ample time to do whatever you want. It could be excellent cash flow. It's whatever you want it to be. Feels abundant and prosperous and joyful. A rich life is about being inwardly and outwardly balanced. And our mind, our body, our emotions, inner world, outer world, sweetness. A side note here on karma is that it also applies to groups. So a nation, a family, a community can have its own karmic retribution. That's the effect of joining forces. You want to hang out with a group that has great karma. Yeah? Okay, second principle. Everything in the universe returns to balance eventually. We're all getting home. We're all getting back to a dimension that we have labeled as heaven. It's universal intelligence pulling us back. Universal intelligence wants everything to come back into truth, into wholeness, into harmony. I'm going to pull on some Martin Luther King here. I hope we're all familiar with his quote. He said, "The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice." Now, here's something that's not as commonly known. Martin Luther King was actually quoting a pastor named Theodore Park. He was a really radical, interesting cat. He was a transcendentalist. And there's a second part of this quote about the arc of justice, the moral arc. So when I first heard this, when I was just a little bean, I felt like bends toward justice was really about someone getting what's coming to them. But actually, upon maturity and deeper research, I learned that this message was really intended to be hopeful, because the full sermon from Parker, or maybe it was an essay, but his full teaching went like this. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends toward justice. Here's the other part we don't often hear. One divine end towards which creation moves onward and onward forever. Let me give that to you again. The moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice, which is one divine end towards which creation moves onward and onward forever. One divine end is karma. That divine end is the place that our soul is always guiding us back towards home, equilibrium. And we have the free will to get on course and to get off course to generate positive or negative karma. That's the trip down here. That's the duality. That's the power. You get to generate a lot of positive karma. You get to clean up, burn through every speck of negative karma and return to your true power. I love it. So the question becomes, are you sowing seeds for flowers? Or are you sowing seeds for weeds? Okay. Number 3, your so-called bad karma. I don't even like to refer to it as bad karma. It's really just positive and negative. And I think ultimately we get to a place where we don't have judgments about what is positive and what is negative. It is all of God. And God knows what is right and wrong because the original source is divine love. So we think, I got some bad karma. I lost a job. I lost my partner. I lost my dog. It's like a bad country song. You know what happens when you play country music backwards, right? You get your job back, your wife back, and your dog comes home. Anyway, that's my dad joke. That's actually a joke from my dad. When we're on the receiving end of so-called bad karma, we get the struggle, we get the suffering. It is our soul giving us the opportunity to come back into balance, back to awareness of our essential nature. So back to that energy knot that I was talking about, that binding that happens when the ego does something, it thinks, it speaks, takes some action. The soul wants us to undo that knot. And that undoing can be a painful process. That's the pain of growth. But it's actually the liberation. It's the neutralizing of karma. And once we get this, once we get that the challenges are here in service to us getting free, the challenges are here so we wake up to our true power, our divine nature, then we take the charge out of the suffering. We don't suffer as much over the suffering. When we get struck with the challenge, with the opportunity to clean up our karma, it's usually coming through certain planetary alignments. We're going with the flow, and then something in the sky shifts, and the theme of that shift, the energy of that chiropractic adjustment with the planets, is when the karma gets delivered. That's why astrology will help you take a sneak peek at your future, and you can be more equipped to deal with it when the strike comes. I can give you an oversimplified description of this. It's the Buddha. What comes together falls apart. It's, what's his toes? Newton, the law of Newton. What goes up must come down. There's a yin, there's a yang. Whatever is bound will eventually be set free. So all of those energetic knots that are created by the ego's thoughts, words, and actions are going to get loosened up by the heart, by love. Working with our negative karma is how we become more conscious. That's the good news. If we choose. I mean, you're going to choose eventually. You're going to be like, enough of this shit. I am going to choose love. I'm going to take responsibility. I am going to rock and roll with cause and effect. You're going to meet the challenge eventually. Why not now? You're going to rise to the occasion. Why not today? You have the full capacity right now, no matter what's going on the planets. Love, universal intelligence, angelic forces are always here to support us. You can choose to become more compassionate right now. You can choose to become more compassionate as a result of getting flattened, as a result of the ego getting toasted, as a result of all the psychological deaths that we're going to be delivered by our soul. We can choose to become a cooler, more loving, wise, insightful, resilient, kind person to ourselves, to others. We come out of the negative experiences more positive. We come out of the betrayal more inclusive. We wake up out of our slumber, out of our density and denial as a more aware person. That's the beauty of karma. It's the purposefulness of suffering. And then what do you do when you come out of the shitteroo? You are more expanded and you generate more positive karma. because all of that ego burning brings you to your true nature, your more loving self. Okay. Bonus. My fourth point before we wrap. Oh, this one is like a really fine point. Truly good karma, like the actual positive karma, is selfless. So just stay with me. I hope this feels somewhat liberating. You can't set out to get good karma. You have to, it's not about accumulation. It's not halo polishing. I've always loved that phrase. It's not about looking good for God or anyone else. You just have to do the right thing because it's the right thing. So setting out to accrue good karma so that good things happen to you because you want it to pay off, it kind of cancels out the good karma, I think. It's not money in the bank. Although it kind of is. Let me think about how to break this down. This is it. It's the selflessness. It's the selflessness. It's the egolessness. It's the pure-heartedness. It's the pure love that dissolves the negative and generates the positive. This is the power of this. Like the good deed that comes from not needing to get repaid or to be acknowledged is so powerful, is so luminous and pure. Everything gets rectified. The negative karma gets dissolved, and then you do get money in the bank. There is positive karma. You do the goodwill because it's right action, because that's what love does, not so that you can attract more money or get a hot partner. It's just right action. This is me being my divine self. This is me being in sync with my soul. This is joy. This is just rightness. And what will be, will be. If I get payback, great, but I just want to help you cross the street. I just want to help you get the job. I just want to do the best thing for the human kingdom and the mineral and the plant and the animal kingdom because love, because it's my first divine inclination. And it's easy, actually. Doesn't mean it won't be arduous. Doesn't mean I won't put myself out. But it's natural. It's yes. It feels yes. And that goodwill returns us to our true nature. Well, it is our true nature, but we get closer to our true nature. We become more of our true nature. We embody more light. Good karma feels so great when we do it. So I have a question to close with. Well, first I have a statement. Just let me drive home this negative karma thing. When we stay attached to our experiences, when we want things to be a very particular way, when we're not being flexy, not so kind, when we're seeing it as right and wrong, good and bad, when we're attached, that creates suffering. That's the Buddhist definition of suffering, attachment. So then, what are the questions that bring us to healing? Are you willing to give up the painful experiences? All the suffering that comes with our painful experiences, the negative karma. Are you willing to give those up on the altar of your heart for healing? Just one experience. Just offer one painful memory over to your heart for it to be loved on. You think with love about it. You speak with love about it, and then you will take loving action as a result of that painful experience. This is transmutation of negative karma into positive karma. And then could you do one more painful experience? Bring it into your heart. This is heart centering. You bring each experience up to be accepted and to be completely loved in your thoughts, your speech, and your actions, so that it can be fully released. That's good karma. Just breathe into your heart. I'm so glad you're here. I'll keep coming back. Positive karma, negative karma. I'm here for all of it with love. Danielle. Thank you so much for listening, for feeling, for spreading the word with love.